I would like to welcome the first of the four panels of today. I think myself and the majority of the attendees here will have a lot to learn regarding AI, ChatGPT, and marine optimization and troubleshooting. These are, I think, very new ideas that everybody is keen to explore, and we all want to listen very curiously what lies ahead. Mr. Belexis is the moderator for this panel, and you have the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Hadji Georgiou. And before we start the panel discussion, first of all, I'd like to thank New Front Naftiliaki for the invitation to participate in this panel. The subject is also new to me. I've been a technical person during my career. I would like also to thank Ms. Natasha Vasilaki for her invitation and the efforts she has been doing, as well as her team, to make this summit a reality. The subject we are going to discuss in the first panel is the AI, and I will start by, before having the panelists introduced, I would just like to say a few things about this. Over the past years, the maritime industry, as we all know, has undergone a significant digitalization journey. Working in the shipping industry, what we have seen in the last years is we have invested in systems, sensors, and platforms to generate vast amount of operational and technical data. Some of us, we have stored this data in our servers, and we have been using them, but in a very short proportion. At the same time, the rise of AI has entered the equation, largely because the technology has reached a point where it can process and manage this volume of data more effectively than before. At its core, AI is about pattern recognition, prediction, and the ability to turn a large volume of data in better informed decisions. However, one point is consistently emphasized. AI is only as good as the data it is built upon and, of course, the algorithm. Without a robust data strategy, covering data quality, governance, and accessibility, AI cannot deliver reliable or scalable outcomes. And this is where shipping faces a very challenging specific time at the moment. Despite the progress in digitalization, we are still dealing with decades of historical data that are often fragmented, inconsistent, or difficult to access and interpret. And like the keynote speaker mentioned, he had two solutions, the near-term solution and the scale-up solution. So it's hard also to say where AI stands, apparently in both solutions. So the first issue I would like to raise is not only about the potential of AI, but about our readiness as an industry to truly leverage it. And I would like to be very interested to hear perspective from across the ecosystem and the panelists today, from ship owners, operators, classification society, and academia. So I would like to introduce the panel. There is an excuse from Ms. Bergeletu. She is the signal market analyst. She could not make it for today. She had she had a fever, I think, so she's not with us. I would just like to start by introducing Mr. Nikolaos Vedikos. He is the professor of Laboratory for Maritime Transport, School of Naval Architecture and Marine Engineering in the National Technical University of Athens. Thank you for being here. Next panelist is Mr. John Kokarakis. He's a technical director, SIBA Zone. He's working for Bureau Veritas, Classification Society. Then I will pass to Mr. Konstantinos Sagas. He is the Training and Development Manager, Pantheon Tankers, Alpha Gas, Alpha Bulkers, which with huge experience. So we're very interested to hear because AI and training are coming together. And also we have the IT person. This is Mr. Nicholas Chimbelis, IT Project Support Manager, Ionic. So we'll hear also the perspective from the ship owner. Um, I would like to start, there are a few topics on the AI. The first topic we're going to cover through a general question is the leveraging AI to access historical and technological shipping data. And the question that I would like from the panelists to give their insight is, to what extent can AI realistically transform historical shipping data into forward-looking decision intelligence? Are we structurally ready as an industry to support the transition? And what would it take in practical terms from your perspective to get there? So I'd like to start with Mr. Kokarakis.
Thank you very much. First of all, allow me to say that the popular belief that AI is a recent development is actually not true. We used to have a form of AI even 20 years ago. I can give you examples, but going back to the question, I think this is the main use of AI, the utilization of data in order to make decisions. This is support of the decisions, not replacing the human insight. What we need to ensure is that the data are accurate, high quality, and transparent, and really what is needed, not every parameter in the model. Always we need to introduce a layer of human intelligence. So yes, it is possible, and it is a major use for AI.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kokarakis. And Mr. Agas, could we have also your views on that?
Yes, thank you so much. I want to thank also the Green Shipping Forum for inviting us. It's a real privilege to be here. So, obviously, the AI can assist a lot. It can provide a lot of interesting data and can support decisions as Mr. Kokarakis said. Now, how are we going to do this? How this is happening? How this can be implemented? Now, one of the problems that we have in the maritime industry is that there are two aspects of it that make us a little bit difficult to transformation. So we don't transform very easily. So, and there are two reasons for this. First of all, because we are result-based organizations. So if you're a result-based organization, then it's difficult to try new things because you're used to the way that you were doing this before. And also, for the most part, we are traditional organizations. So, and especially owners and top-tier management, they find it more difficult to transform in new things, new developments. So how can we do this? How can we implement this? I think the way that we can implement this, there are two ways that we can do this. Either we can identify that there are advantages, there are serious advantages by using this. That's number one. And the second one is if a regulator imposes this to us. Now, for the time being, the regulator, I don't think that, at least for now, regulatory powers will turn us to this direction. So, but you know, the idea with this is we need to identify the real advantages. Now, so with new technologies and with new ways of doing things, sometimes there are outside forces that can make us that can lead us to this direction. So, for example, a very good paradigm is, let's say, because I'm a learning specialist, I'm training specialist. We have to talk about online learning. So, online learning was there 20 years ago, 15 years ago, right? But before 5-6 years ago, no one was really using it. We thought that it wasn't really adequate. So what made us really use it an external force that imposed online learning and made us understand the real impact, which was COVID. So similarly, in that sense, we need people that if we want to push AI, we need to show actual results to top-tier management and to ship owners. So in that sense, we need to find applications that are actually showing the benefits. So I'm going to tell you about one such example. So one example that all companies are having is crew familiarization with procedures, with processes. So this is a big problem. This was forever because procedures are very complicated. So how do you resolve this? One way to resolve this is, okay, after reviewing the procedures, if you could have a system that would create some questions and could assess your knowledge of the topic. So before AI, how this could be created, if you could assign the SMS of a company to specific departments, they would create some questions, you would get the questions back, and then you would have your so-called assessment. Now, all of us that we are working on a maritime company understand the possibilities of something like this happening. It's nearly zero, because our everyday routine, this is not going to happen. But now AI can do that for us. So that's what we did in Pantheon, Alpha Bulkers, and Alpha Gas. So we took our SMS and we created through ChatGPT questions per chapter and per subchapter. So we created assessments that they have questions, they have answers, but not just that, they give justifications why such an answer is correct or why an answer is wrong. So if you implement something like this on a large scale, we are doing this right now, so we are actually proving that this technology gives results. So if you prove, this was an example, if you do something like this on a large scale, the owners and the top-tier management will introduce the AI. I think that's how we're going to do this. And primarily, and the point is that at least for now, the cost for AI are not very high. So if you are able to prove that the time and energy spent is worth the result, I think that's one way that we could implement AI.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Halas. So from a training perspective, there's some kind of AI existing already in the market, as you pointed out. But I would like also to hear Mr. Tibeli's opinion, whether we are structurally ready as an industry to have a transition of AI in the form that everybody is expecting. That means to make our work faster, more reliable, and more complete.
First of all, thank you very much for having me here. Now, from a more, let's say, technical perspective, I would say that no, we aren't there yet. And the main reason for this is that we have fragmented ecosystems. Meaning that the data sits across various places. I mean, ship owners, charterers, ports, weather companies, and all those data are in various formats and different structure. In order to get there, in order to gather all those data in a common, let's say, database, we have to find a way to integrate those data. And the thing is here that basically we have to create a mechanism that shares data anonymously, because also is the thing of data privacy. And we have to do this with standardization. We have to find common ways for the systems to speak each other. So it is very easily accessible by everyone and very easily to make our daily routine more efficient. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I'd like to hear also Professor Vendiko's opinion about whether we can indeed use historical data on AI today, especially in the shipping part.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I would like also to thank Natasha and News from Navtiliaki for having me here. I think it's quite brave to have an academic on the panel, and I will explain that. First of all, as Yannis said, it's not such a new thing. I don't know, we used to have expert systems. Now we have AI. Yeah. And if we ask in the room what is AI, we will get, I don't know, zillions of replies. I would say, just to give the pace in how I see things, first of all, that what we are discussing today is already history. Things are running very fast. I mean, with ChatGPT, we had like 1 million in 5 days, 100 million in 2 months users. Everybody's using it. Okay. And if we go also, because I see a lot of young people, if I go also in education, but I guess my colleague Yorgos Dimopoulos will cover that later on. I mean, okay. Now, first of all, for the specific question, I mean, data. Data, we need data. We need training. Data is there, I guess. I'm an academic, but I guess that's there. But it is structurally broken in the sense that we don't have, let's say, like voyage record or maintenance histories, etc., etc. We don't have, there are incompatible silos throughout the industry. I mean, it's not easily accessible. And this data is a huge prerequisite for AI to start being implemented. This should be very clear to everybody. I mean, data is like oil of the 21st century. The 20th century oil is data today. So, a retrospective AI is quite mature, trends, recognition, patterns, etc., etc. However, we need something about forward-looking, which is not so readily available. It should be very clear, because you need causal models, you need physics, you need a lot of things to integrate together. And this is not easy, but it will be done. Now, the industry, our industry is, I mean, it's fair to say that we are structurally unprepared. This is the truth. Other industries are not, like aviation or energy. They are simply in a much better shape. Why? Because we don't have this, you know, this mentality of data sharing. We are not pooling data. Data is very important in order to be able to implement in a correct way the AI approach. So we are unprepared. Now, we need like some basic things, some foundations, like standardized data schemes, trusted neutral data sharing frameworks, and as John mentioned, we need the human there. We need the analysts. We need them in order to be able to interpret what we're getting off and to decide accordingly how this will roll out. So to conclude, and not taking you a lot of time, I would say that the barrier is more, in my mind, okay, the barrier is more, how can I put it, cultural and not technical. We have to decide how we will proceed and where, but we need to do it, okay? We need to do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Kokarakis, you wanted to add something?
I want to make a joke to break the ice. We did not come to today's development in one day, like Rome was not built in one day. First of all, I would like to say that AI has opened new horizons for you lucky young guys, young students, because you can benefit from knowledge from all over the world. In our time, we barely could consult English papers. Now, you can go to Japanese papers, Korean papers that contain very useful knowledge. First effort, AI was asked to translate, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. The result was the vodka is good, but the meat is rotten. This is why we need the humans all the time to check.
Okay, definitely broke the ice. Thank you for that. Okay, I would like to make an approach to get some feedback on the practical application. So one of the things we hear a lot in the shipping industry, especially in the technical field, is AI can help us with the troubleshooting. It can help us actually solve problems where humans cannot. I would like to hear the views of the panelists on how do you see the role of AI, power knowledge agents such as ChatGPT type tools in supporting marine troubleshooting and procedural guidance, like Mr. Agas mentioned before on the SMS training, for example, search engines. And what are the key challenges in ensuring their reliability, which is very important, and practical adoption on board and ashore? And then I would like to ask Mr. Agas.
Okay, so how right now what is happening that if we are using ChatGPT or these kind of tools, what is happening is that we are posing a question, we're making a prompt, and this goes to the web, right? The large language model is out there in the web, so it gets information from all around, whatever is out there. So now this has some great advantages, but also some disadvantages. The great advantage is that these tools are excellent in questions that they have to do with generic issues. So that they require a lot of information from many various sources. For this, the tools are very good, and you have used it, and it works. Now the problem is, if you're going to go to very specific, very generic information, very specific information, now that's where the problem is starting. Because if you, for example, if you want to resolve a specific problem of your engine, of a specific engine, now, if you search out there to everything that is out there, maybe sometimes you get misleading information. So I think that how this is going to resolve is to the second generation of large language models. So what we're going to, and how we're going to be helped in a more specific domain, and on our own specific topics, is I think that the second layer of large language models will not be getting information from the web. It will be getting information from specific databases that we will be using. So imagine that you could ask ChatGPT, but it wouldn't get information from anything that is out there, but would get information from for example, for an engine manual, and also from a forum that the users would use to do troubleshooting. So this would create very easily much more centric information that's very specific. So this is already happening, and I think this is where we're going to go. If we're going to get more generic assistance, this is what we should be doing, is that the second generation of large language models will focus on domains, on data from specific streams that they have to do with what we're doing, that are very specific, they're not very generic. So, and also, if we go this way, this will resolve also the two basic problems that we're having right now. The two basic problems that we're having right now is reliability, that's number one, and the second one is data privacy. So if we don't search to the whole web, but we're searching with specific domain, within our specific domain, for a specific database, this will resolve the issue of data privacy as well. So I think that's where we should go.
Okay, now, Mr. Tibelis, since you are working for a ship operator and a manager, and you probably are dealing with similar challenges, technical challenges, would like to hear your views. What are the challenges in building reliable knowledge agents, especially when integrating manuals, logs, SMS, historical cases, and how do you mitigate risk to avoid incorrect or hallucinating responses, and what governance framework need to be in place to ensure that?
First of all, as already mentioned, a big challenge here is the data heterogeneity. We have data from various formats and structures, OM manuals, logs, NUN reports. All those data are completely different in most of the cases. So we have to find a work to work around, and we have to focus and put many work hours to make a common database. Second, I would say, as Mr. Agas mentioned, is that the configuration of each vessel is very specific. It's the engine type, as he mentioned, the operating conditions, the software that we are using in our vessels. So there's a big risk here. A technically good solution, in practice, not to be a good one, operationally wise. And also regarding historical cases, here is a big issue because often they are incomplete, often they weren't systematically recorded, many times weren't in handwritten notes, etc. So we have also to find a way to implement those historical data because they are the backbone. They are our experience, our historical experience. Now, regarding the mitigation of the risk of hallucinated data, first of all, I would say that we have to use source attribution, meaning that every answer that an AI system would give, it has to have a citation to tell to the user, to the end user, where and in which database, from which database this outcome came. So the end user can cross-check and validate the result. In that way, we increase the skepticism of the end user and make him double-check the outcome. Additionally, also as Mr. Aga said, we have to use our own databases and not open source bases, because here is a big risk of taking data that aren't customized on our needs and in what we need. And lastly, I would say that we need random validation checks. Whatever we need, whatever we do, we have to make validation checks in a random way so we can ensure that the outcome at all cases is the correct one. Now, regarding the governance framework, which is, I would say, the second part of the equation, we have to create clear rules on what data we are using, the data ownership, where did we find it, and if they are validated. Also, we have to create specific workflows in which we will include the human element. For example, for some critical procedures, always a human being must give the final approval. We cannot blindly rely on an AI solution. And lastly, I would say that accountability. I mean, AI is here to support us, is an aid, but it isn't a decision-making tool. And we have to make it clear to our people, ashore and onshore, that the responsibility at the end of the day remains on them. Thank you.
Thank you. I've made some notes that I heard terms like standardization, procedure, validation, regulation, and all this makes me think that here is also where apparently classification society could play a significant role in, for example, introducing validation, standardization, assisted troubleshooting tools, perhaps. And if this is the case, Dr. Kokarakis, should such system be subject to certification and assurance processes?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Yes, class will play a significant role among other stakeholders First of all, it is going to provide guidance on standards. The minimum, by standards I mean the minimum requirements to have accurate, reliable, and quality data. Then we have a model fed to the AI. We need to make sure that the results of the model are correct. This is the validation phase. We give a simple problem and we check if the results are correct. I have to tell you that AI, as the previous speaker mentioned, makes mistakes. You get warnings, and they can make mistakes even on algebraic calculations. The units, they make mistakes. So be careful what you use. Another thing is the provision of guidelines by the class, which they give us the best practices for development of model, testing, and on-board use. The beauty of AI is that you can introduce a 1,000-page manual, and it can read it in practically in seconds, half a minute maybe. So all this knowledge is stored and given on demand. The other important thing that class must check is the compatibility between the existing SIP systems and the class rules. So this is the fourth element. And I would like to conclude by underlying that AI should not say just what will happen, but what is likely to happen. So always we must introduce a probabilistic element in the model. The idea is that you can assume a probability distribution, do the analysis, find the probability of occurrence, use a probabilistic model, Monte Carlo simulation, on something else, neural networks. But the idea is you always need not only the what, but also the likelihood and the why. We don't need more black boxes. So I believe this is pretty much what the class can do. And it is reflected in various notations that will follow.
Thank you. So since we have also a lot of classification society representatives in this room, perhaps we could expect to see rules popping up on AI soon?
And notations that are the flags of the capabilities of the vessel. Soon to follow, AI approved, AI assisted, but I'm not impressed with AI because 30 years ago, I received thousands of data from 7 Sulzer engines on the wear of liners, and I was asked to predict when we have a failure, exceed the threshold of wear of the liner, because Sealand said that we don't care about the wear, but we need to know when it will happen. We don't want it to happen in the middle of the Atlantic. So this was the critical aspect. All I needed was not an AI, but I needed a good statistician. So I did, and I believe my predictions were right on the money.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Kokarakis. Already, most of the panelists touched upon the human element, and we cannot actually talk about AI without also exploring what will be the impact on the human. So this is, I think, a direct question for the Professor Vedikos. And how can we ensure that humans remain critical thinkers rather than passive validators of AI-generated outputs, thereby preventing human intellectual surrender, model collapse, and technical stagnation? Could you have your views on that?
Yes, of course. Just let me first say that I'm very excited with AI. I'm very, very excited. I think everything will be changed. Everything, completely. It will be a tsunami. It is a tsunami. We would like to see what if. It's very interesting to hear. And of course, neural networks, they are kind of the AI ecosystem. They are AI, so yeah. But I think everything will be changed. Now, I don't know, when we get some money from the ATM, do we count it? Or we just put it in our pocket? We trust the system. I mean, trust is a very big thing. There is an automation bias. There is. Okay. And it's documented. I believe it is a great threat. I mean, humans should be in the loop. We tend, after a time, to systematically overtrust a system, especially when we are under pressure, when there is a time problem there. We are trying to cut some corners. So another issue is, as you said, model collapse. Model collapse is an existing risk in the sense that when we have the AI training on AI-generated content, this might lead to very interesting problems. So we need an independent human expertise as a strategic necessity in the overall ecosystem. I mean, we have heard the terms of human in the loop, human on the loop, human in command, etc., but these are terms that they are dynamically, even if they are defined under ISO nowadays, but they are dynamically being enriched through the developments. So, I mean, the thing here is for education also and for institutions to structurally reinform skepticism. In the sense, one colleague of mine told me that in 2026, this is this year, perhaps developers will cease to exist in the west coast of the US. It is an over-exaggeration, but we all understand what's going on here, okay? We will have a new kind of, let's say, engineers. From software engineers, we will have what we will be calling prompt engineers. We need to revisit and skeptically review what is delivered. And this is very, very important. We need to challenge AI all the time. And an interesting point is that this should be done through design. I mean, not occasionally, but it must be a part of the procedure. Now, so we need to realign a little bit our incentives here. We need to, certification and standards will be very, very, very important. And of course, the professional culture altogether must a little bit be rebalanced. And this is very important. So what we are doing, actually, now at NUA, we are doing what we call human AI resilience, resilient human AI, which is, in a very broad sense, we need the human judgment to remain sharp, to remain valued and cognitively prioritized. It is very important to be there. So as we see it, it's not like a competition. It's not that like that AI comes to replace us, the human, but it's more a deliberate effort to keep the human critical thinking in the loop and irreplaceable.
Regarding the certification, yes, it is absolutely necessary, but we should not overdo it. We should introduce the element of risk-based certification. Like, for example, if we ask to certify a method, a process for fuel consumption optimization, you realize this is pure consulting. It is not so safety critical. If we want to certify the loads in the propulsion shafting of a vessel, this is a critical item. The certification must be much more complicated and, suppose, for sure, mandatory.
Okay, thank you both. Listening to Professor Vendikos, I realized that in shipping we have traditionally using our own data, and we are doing our own decision based on our own data, but now having AI, most likely we are going to have a more broad database to work upon. And this might lead us to have a dependence also on a big data database foreign. And the question here is, how do you believe, Professor Vendikos, we will be able in shipping to maintain our operational autonomy during, let's say, if I use the term digital embargo or a geopolitical crisis like the one we are now living in?
Okay. It's yeah, we are living it right now. It's interesting. Okay, I think that the dependency is already deep, dangerously deep, more or less. Okay, so it is not a theoretical question here. It is a reality, and it's a very big reality. We have communication. We have many things that it's actually controlled by some foreign or general some tech providers. So a digital embargo is no longer hypothetical. It could turn to be a very nice, active geopolitical, very efficient. For example, about satellite communications or other things. So talking for Greece or for Europe altogether, sovereignty requires having our own track, our own stack. We have to deal with that, and we have to start thinking, as I said, both in national but also in European level. Why this is happening? So we must invest much more. Investment here is the tool. We must invest much more in domestically developed or regionally for Europe, control alternatives, open source maritime software ecosystems, vendor neutral standards, and goes on and on. We have that in aviation. It's not, we are not, I don't know, we are not finding America for the first time, discovering America. So I would say that redundancy is resilience in our case, and it's not inefficiency. Okay, things are changing. So parallel systems, manual fallback procedures, and analog competencies should be there, should be somewhere. I mean, now in risk analysis for autonomous vessels and operations, we are talking a lot about fallback conditions, about minimal condition, risk conditions, MCRs, in order exactly to understand what we can do if something is going wrong, okay? We have to be prepared. There will be no time. So just to wrap it up, the industry that outsources away from the industry, its data and code, actually what they do, it surrenders its future. This is what is happening. We have to establish our own capable, efficient ecosystem. It's already there, but we have to strengthen it, and we have to enrich it with all these new things. Otherwise, we will be, vulnerable targets in many, many stakeholders. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. So, a lot of terms, risk, human, standardization, certification. Definitely there is a lot of risk in AI. There is no question about it. And maybe not so much for the people that are already in the shipping industry and working on a specific pattern and procedure, but maybe mostly for the newcomers. So I'd like to ask Mr. Tibelis, being an IT guy, what are the key risks of using AI tools without adequate critical thinking and filtering and training? And how can the industry ensure that human judgment remains central in decision-making? And if you can also share any experience, what you are doing actually in your own company.
Thank you. There is a huge risk. First of all, I would say that the risk here isn't that an AI system can bring wrong results. The risk here is that we're starting trusting the system blindly. And here is where critical thinking must be established. So basically, what we're currently doing, what we're trying to do, since it is in its early stages, we're trying to create workflows with human involvement, and also to make sure that every result is accompanied by the source, or also the system to cite if the result is interpolating or if it is based on specific sources. So in that way, we enforce the user double-check the result to make sure, is it right or wrong? Do I have to cross-check before I proceed further? One big thing here also is the training. We have to make sure that the users are ready to go on board, are ready to use the AI before starting doing so. Is similar to the cybersecurity. The human element plays a huge role, and we have to prepare it. What was the last question, sorry?
To give us also your experience as a ship operator and manager on how do you deal, let's say, with problems on AI, if you are actually experiencing any issues at the moment. If you can give us your experience as a ship operator on the use of AI, what measures have you implemented to restrict, let's say, the use or to control the use, unlimited use of AI, and having, let's say, your database open to the market?
Besides the obvious, besides having a policy that says that companies' data can be used in public tools and in open sources tools, what we're trying to do is to create an internal system that is better from a public tool. Because if an internal system is customized on our needs, if it is specific for our fleet and for our day-to-day operations, then the end user at the end instead of using a public tool. So more or less, this is how we're trying to, allow me to say, to control it, because we can't control it. I mean, we can't block platforms, we can't block IPs, but this isn't a solution. This isn't efficient. We're trying to create a model that each time will be preferred by our colleagues in our company. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Agas, since you are a training and development manager on your company and you are dealing with crew matters every day, we'd like also to hear your views on how do you ensure that crews and your staff are using AI tools responsibly. They do not over-rely on them. Are you introducing any structured training or guidelines for the AI usage across your fleet, organization, and where do you draw the line between AI assistance and human decision authority?
Okay, so I think that this is rather a question that we will have to answer in the near future, because as far as most companies, I think, are concerned, general AI tools, we don't use in a structured way within the company procedures. So right now, as I said, what we're trying to do is familiarize people with the appropriate use of AI tools. Now, we tend to see that, although a lot of us were using it for personal reasons, for professional reasons, we have only, I'd say, only 10% of people within the company are using this, right? Are using it, for company business. Half of the people, they don't use it at all. Half of the people in the company. So in that sense, we try to familiarize people with that. We are not doing this yet in a structured way. We do it in an unstructured way. So there are courses out there that they say applications of AI in HR, or applications of AI in data mining, or applications of AI in IT. There are some courses out there, outsourced courses, we don't do it in-house, that can assist people, to familiarize themselves with the technology. Now, so for now, I don't think that we are there yet. So we're trying to increase the use of AI tools within the framework of the company. So how do we do that? The way that we do this, first of all, we familiarize people, and then we should provide tools, as Nikos said, we should provide tools that are company-specific. Now, how difficult it is, how easy it is, for smaller companies, I think it's very, very difficult, because they don't have the resources to create those kind of tools. Now, for the bigger companies, maybe it's something that can be done. But I'd say that the difficulty in creating those tools seems, if you've not invested at all at this, it seems like it's gigantic. It's very, very big. But if you try to dive a little bit deeper into this, you will see that one of the great advantages of this technology is that in order to exploit it, in order to even customize it, you don't have to be a super expert. So there are ways that you can do this, and even right now, there are courses that can teach you how you can create your own, let's say, based on your own large language model, create your own database, and then create your own, let's say, mini ChatGPT to assist yourself within the framework of the company. So I would see that this is something that would come to fruition in the near future. But right now, we're grasping. We try to use technology as much as possible as is. At least that's what we're doing.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Vedikos. Since apart from being a professor, you're also a founder on the Maritime Risk Group, and I understand that you are also quite sensitive on safety matters. Would you give us also your views on AI and what ultimately determines whether the AI enhances or undermines safety in high-stakes operation, technology alone, or something more?
Something more. Okay, something more. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. As you have all understand, I'm very much into AI. I think everything, it changes everything. Okay, everything. Just to give a picture, I mean, a project of 30 days is done in 20 minutes. My son is doing that at NTUA. I don't know whether it's good or bad, but this is, I mean, everything is changed completely. Okay. Now, but technology alone should not be sufficient. It's not, and should not. I mean, safety is an emergent property of a system, and it arises from the dynamic interrelations, interactions between various components of the system, and one of them being the human element. It's clear. Also, equipment, machines, organizational culture, procedures, everything could be components, but the human is there. So it's not only about technology. I mentioned earlier the human AI resilience. Okay. Robustness. Robustness, we used to have robustness. Robustness was like resisting to failure. When we have resilience there, it means that now humans, in conjunction with the AI, should be able to recover after a failure occurs. And this is a very, very big thing because the world is changing. Automation, either in terms of operation or vessels or whatever, or many, many different new fuels, everything. We have what we call emergent risks that we have never, ever faced before. There are no scenarios there. Can we predict everything? Probably not. So we need resilience. Resilience, it's the new buzzword. Actually, we have moved to what we call antifragility, but it's not the matter of this panel. But we need resilience, and this is of utmost importance. So we need to not to misalign the teaming between of these two pillars, the human element and AI. And this is very, very, very important because, you know, AI is overconfident. It gives us a reply. We have to revisit it. We have to be able to understand what it says, whether this is enough for us, and whether we need to go back. And it's very, very important to understand that everything should be, in the terms of resilience, should be deliberately engineered into the process. So it's a design feature, and it's very, very important. We do not want the human capacity to go to atrophy. We need it there. In a different role, this is debatable, but we need it. We need it there. So the true or one of the new measures of safety, I mean, we used to have what we call safety 2, which was we are not interested in what went bad, but what went good. Why? Because we have 5 accidents and 2 million successful trips. So big data is there. We can actually, you know, benefit from the process. Now, though, we have we moved on in this resilient approach, which means that we must understand how the system works and how intelligently humans and machines fail, adapt, and recover together. This is what we are dealing today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we will just stay on the safety issue, safety and compliance issue, because AI as a new tool in our business actually will affect that. I have a question for Dr. Kokarakis on this matter. Do you see a need for industry standards or guidelines governing the use of AI in operational decision-making, and could misuse of AI tools introduce new types of safety or compliance risks?
First of all, I'd like to sound the alarm on an important issue. And I will say the magic word, cybersecurity. We need to ensure that there is no access for our data by other entities. I would like to tell you that when you introduce your data, your drawings, your reports into an AI machine, we have the so-called machine learning process. It stays there. It becomes public record. So make sure that what you enter is not vulnerable data for your company, your competition. It is a fact, and I don't know what happens in your company, but at Bureau Veritas, we have developed our own AI chat model. It's an LLM or LLM program, which is actually what is used, and we cannot, for example, use ChatGPT or other AI machines. We have to use strictly that tool. And of course, nobody prevents us to do it at our home, but we have to be careful what we enter, what data we enter. Imagine what will happen if we rely on manipulated data. If we want to find how fast a crack will propagate, to see when we need to repair it, before it becomes dangerous, before it becomes critical, if we have the wrong fracture resistance, the wrong fracture toughness, because somebody changed it. So this is important. So evidently, misuse of the data, and we need to bring all the qualifications mentioned by the previous speakers, like not reliance only blindly on the machine, but we have to give priority to the human element. Unfortunately, the utilization of AI creates a sense of confidence which may not be justified. It has happened to me many times to get wrong replies. So this is a little bit dangerous and can happen. We need to have standards. To have, it goes without question, because we need to have thresholds of accuracy levels, and like we said before, these thresholds will be tighter for safety critical situations. So this is something very important, to establish uniform standards, universally acceptable, to make the data more robust and more useful. I think I have nothing more.
Okay, thank you. Basically, this panel made an effort to give some insight on academia, on shipping operation, on certification. I think there are several questions that could have been asked on this panel, but always the time is limited. I think at this stage, we will open the floor for questions. And I think I have a question from the chairman first.
Yes. First of all, I would like to congratulate all panelists for their insightful information. Two issues that are, let's say, troubling me. One is, let's say, data quality that was mentioned in the beginning. One of the typical things that have to do with shipping is the famous noon report. And traditionally, the noon report is wrong. After many years, not only is wrong, it is also, there is conflict in the report. What is to be reported to owners, what is to be reported to charterers, and what is the truth may be three distinctly different things. So how can AI, let's say, assist in such a situation? And I would like to ask this more on operators that are using such a tool.
This is true. There are the same, let's say, type of data with different values. AI, I would say that cannot assist. I mean, we have to know the data that we are giving to the model. If we know that the data that we're giving is wrong, we know, and let's say the fuel consumptions aren't the real ones, we judge the result based on the data that we know that we have given, which is okay, if you're asking me, because we calculate the results based on what we feed the system.
The point is, how is this, let's say, absorbed and procedurally within the company?
I want to say just one small comment here. I'd say that what you mentioned is true, and we see it all the time. But it's rather, I don't consider this to be an AI problem. It's rather a mentality problem. So unless we're willing to tell the truth to ourselves, how can we resolve an issue? Obviously, I understand. We are all there. Sometimes the data that we send to other people, they're not exactly the same that we are using. And there's a good reason for this. So, but I mean, okay, if we give some different data to other people, I can understand. But if we are using the same data to identify solutions for ourselves, we need to be true to ourselves first. So I think that this is not rather an AI problem. It is because the AI and any other statistical problem, any other statistical model or any other model, if garbage goes in, garbage will go out. So if you really want to have actual solutions to your problems, you need to feed it with real data. So the problem of reliability of noon reports, whatever, it is an issue. Of course, on this case, it's an issue of data validation. So we need to ensure that the data that is imported from the vessels are imported in such a way so that they cannot import something different than what is actually there. Because what happens many times is we have problems with different standards, different kind of like some person is reporting speed in knots, some other person is reporting something different. So that's where the most important problems happen. So I'd say it's rather an issue of mentality than technology.
I'm not going to clap. I strongly disagree with the reply. What I will do, and I believe Professor Vendikos agrees with me, I will ask AI how to separate the bad data. In statistics, and I'm not a statistician, but AI knows statistics. There are methods like removing the outliers, like goodness of fit. So AI itself can apply this and read the data from the bad apples. So this is what I will do. Please give me a clean sheet, and it will do it. I have solved differential equations, difficult differential equations with AI. This is piece of cake for the ChatGPT. Thank you.
If I may, can I say? Yes. Of course, I don't have this problem. I'm not an operator, but okay, I agree with Yannis. Retrospective AI, it's there. There are tools. You can do it. It might not be so easy, but it can be done somehow. I mean, here, I stopped hearing when I heard that we are giving data to others that they are much worse than the ones that we are using. And so we are having bad data out there. We are still relying much...
Not bad and good, just different.
Different, yeah. But we are just relying, I thought I meant bad quality, but okay. We are still relying on noon reports when there are sensors out there, etc., etc. Okay, I mean, one is the word here, data. We need to have data of quality, standardized, and data that we can all, or that you can pull them somewhere and we can all learn from that. I mean, I understand that aviation or energy or other sectors are different than shipping. I can fully comprehend that, but that's what they're doing. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I also like to give a view here on your question. It seems I'm sitting in the middle, so there is a different opinion from this side of the table, different opinion from that. So I need to take either stance, or I would say I agree with both. And mainly, of course, the noon report is as good as the data we input. It's a human interaction, and it could be intentionally or not, but the AI will give us the validation tools. So we are going to use AI to validate if the data is correct. If they are not, we'll discard it, and we will try to change the mentality of the people, because this is the most important. Yes.
There is a nice paper by Lucy something from UCL University. This is the university of the famous decarbonization guy, Tristan Smith. So the lady does various statistical methods to produce results strictly from the noon report. And my answer was not referring only to the noon report, but vibration, oil film thicknesses, and in general, data, which is a valuable commodity. Data are money. And this is what we're going to experience.
Okay, thank you all. I think we can take some questions. We have some few minutes until we conclude this panel. Are there any questions from the floor? Please stand up and just also present yourself. And if you have a question for a specific panelist, please do so.
Thank you for all these nice views. I'm Mr. Nicholas Christou from O2 Maritime. Now, AI is something new for our section, for our sector. Shipping was not using it so far. However, some other sectors are using this one long time now. And we see there are limitations and boundaries that are not visible to us now. But if we see what is happening there, we can see that. So, for example, programmers that are using AI long time now, what they see? AI is using open forums, answers to correct programs. Now, since now nobody is going to these forums to make troubleshooting answers, there are limitations now, because AI doesn't have new sources to correct new programs. So this is one boundary that we have. And of course, AI is not going to explode without need of extra power and extra cooling that we see now questioning around global. So I will still be skeptical, since we are using only 5–10% of professionals the AI as tool, and how far we will go deep on AI. We'll use it, but we have to see where will be the boundaries at the end, because there will be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for your views. Is there any question, other question? Yes, Mr. Tseretopoulos.
A comment. I think to support Mr. Fitzgerald, we are not talking about bad data. We're talking about segregated data. What they don't know won't hurt them. It's harder. So it's not a matter of analyzing whether the data is good. It's a matter of, as an operator, you want to have good, clear data. But sometimes you just don't publicize everything you know. So if AI will help in such decision making, because that is a whole workload to analyze the data and then segregate it. When I'm thinking, I think that's what Mr. Rodriguez was talking about in his comment.
Partly. One thing is that my experience with non-reports, even what is the company non-report, it's notoriously wrong. In many companies, I will not say in all companies, but in many companies, there are many mistakes that are only discovered days, weeks, or months after, and everybody's confused then. And a very good example of that is when the Fuel EU reports or the other reports it's time to prepare them, and you find discrepancies, and you do not know what to do then.
If I may, just on both viewpoints. On the latter, we need reliable data. Reliable is the key term here. If we do not have we need data to begin with, and this data should be reliable. If we don't have that, forget about AI at this stage. Okay? Now, the matter of energy consumption, it's very important. It's not a showstopper, but it's very important. We have all seen statistics of the difference between a Google search and an AI, a ChatGPT search. It's pivotal. But boundaries are there so that we can reach them and break them, so that we can go one step further. And if we want that as an industry, we must look towards that direction. Nowadays, we are in an effort for an orbital data center. So we don't need to cool it down. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Belexis, Mr. Vendikos, Dr. Kokarakis, Mr. Agas, and Mr. Tibelis. Thank you very much for your contribution and your valuable insight. Mr. Belexis, of course, this concludes the session 1 of today's summit. And now we proceed directly to session 2. Mr. Hadjigrigoris will be the moderator for session 2. Please proceed to the floor. There will not be any coffee break. Coffee break is after session 2. Thank you very much.
Ευχαριστούμε πάρα πολύ.